4.
Yo, what's up, y'all? I go by the name of Steph Urkel, and we have
Afro Puff.
Afro Puff, and we are back with another episode of the Millennial Dungeon. Now, I hope everybody had a beautiful weekend. Hope y'all got things done. I know I had a great weekend. Very productive. Well, how about you, Afro Puff?
I had a good weekend. I can't say I was very productive, but I had a good one. I needed to relax.
You're not setting a good example for our audience here.
Listen, just like the grind is important, R&R is important too. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Ooh, damn! I'm gonna put that on my fridge.
As you should.
Oh man, so yeah. So I guess let's just hop right into it. Today's episode, everybody, we talking about movie remakes and movie reboots and TV shows and etc. Reason why I bring that up, obviously, Imarii, you heard about the new Batman movie that came out.
Mm-hmm.
How you feel about that being remade for like the 17th time?
Listen, okay. So don't hate me, but I don't like Batman. I know. Batman annoys me, and I think part of the reason why I don't like Batman is because of all the remakes.
Okay, that's fair.
It's like the same. It's like a similar story every time, and the Batman of like the last like 10 years or so, they're all like dark, super dark and edgy, and I can't see the movie because they're like, it's too dark. Like literally, it's not even like, oh, we're trying to be dark and edgy. No, you gray screened it all. I can't see anything. So I'm trying to figure out why he's freaking out, and it's a lamp or something. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I can't see that. You can make it edgy and suspenseful, but visible.
Yeah, true. Listen.
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of the reasons why I don't like it is because when I was like thinking about this topic, I needed to understand the difference between a remake and a reboot. And so like a remake is redoing essentially the same film or show, while a reboot is regenerating the basis of like the original story, but giving it its own twist. So they're going to take those characters and spin it off. And I feel like even though the storyline of a lot of Batman movies are quote unquote different, they're also kind of the same.
I mean, yeah, how many different ways you can make his parents got unshot. He learned how to do karate. He became Batman, and he's dark and good. How many different ways can you do that?
I don't know. Actually, you were an English major too. You can do that in like thousands of different ways.
True.
And yet, this is what we get. But granted, I didn't see the new Batman. I've heard it's good. You seem to like it from what your Facebook said.
See, I haven't seen it yet. You know what I'm saying? But these trailers. See, I've been rooting for this movie for the last year and a half now, because people was like, oh, Robert Pattinson, he was in Twilight. Why is he Batman? He was perfect pick for Batman, in my opinion. Listen, like when Twilight came out, girls thought he was like the quote unquote pretty boy. In the comics, Bruce Wayne was the bachelor pretty boy. Yes, Bruce Wayne, he was the playboy billionaire, and girls.
No, I agree with that. I was a Twilight fan in middle school, high school, and like I didn't like Robert Pattinson for the choice of Edward, but I don't have any issues with him as an actor. I don't know his work very well. I really just know him in Twilight and a little bit in Harry Potter, which I'm not like the biggest fan of either.
Yeah.
But so I didn't have an issue with him playing Batman. And I did see some things about how, because he's so lean, it kind of gives a more realistic version of Batman. Because be real. Ben Affleck, I believe it was Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
It was somebody who was Batman. And he was like all beefed out. How are you supposed to be moving and running and jumping so easily with all of those?
That's good cardio. How you know Batman don't got LA Fitness membership? How you know that? How you know he's in that treadmill? Don't do that.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, I think it was a perfect choice. I like what's her name? The girl that played Catwoman, Zoe Kravitz, right?
Yes. Now I've seen lots of reviews about her. Everyone is fangirling.
She looked good as you know what I'm saying? I saw her. I'm like,
She is
shit.
a very attractive woman. I'll give her that.
Yeah. But I heard she killed as Catwoman. The dude that played on Colin Farrell, he's a great actor. I've been a fan from him. He's the Penguin. You barely recognize him as Penguin. And
Mm,
it looks pretty good. I'm gonna give it a try, but I do want to go back to what you said before. It's just like they have done like Batman so many different times and so many different ways. So it's just like it's kind of like it's starting to get played out. But I get it because like let's be real, Batman is like DC's biggest like money maker when it comes to
right.
superhero characters. So it is what
Well,
it is.
I think where they fail, honestly, is they have so many independent Batman movies. So I think what makes this a little different is that it is Batman and Catwoman a little bit, you know? So I think that adds a different element than what's typical in a Batman movie. So that might help it in many ways. But also, I think what Marvel did, where they did their individual movies and then they brought them together and created layers of storytelling throughout
Mhm.
the whole universe, is what DC is failing to do.
Yeah,
They're not creating
yeah,
layers that keep people invested and interested. So then they just have to keep remaking the same stuff.
yeah. Yeah, kind of stuff. I mean, they tried to do that with the Zack Snyder verse, like when they tried to do the Justice League movie, but it wasn't hitting like we thought it was going to be. You know what I'm saying? It's like going to
Right.
somebody cookout. It's like you, everybody can't make potato salad. Everybody can't
Not
make
the
a good
mid
superhero
potato
film.
salad.
Let's compare Justice League like that. Like you know what I'm saying?
Right.
He tried, but it's
Right.
like it wasn't hitting. You know what I'm saying? Like we wanted to. Like, and I know, like last year they came out with the
Well,
uncut version, right? You saw that?
no.
Or Justice League? Well, it's pretty good. It's like 3 hours or 4 hours long, but it wasn't worth the wait.
Oh
But
Lord.
what you were gonna say?
Hmm. Um, I don't remember. You know not to ask me those type of questions. I live a busy life. I don't really remember anything. But I think they they do really good in like their TV show remakes.
Yeah,
Like especially even their like animated Justice League. Like I know my brothers really enjoyed those.
yeah,
And like they're able to be dark and edgy and different, but when it comes to their movies, they just aren't reaching the expectations that viewers expect and that Marvel has set in many ways.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
That is
but I
very
think also you can't try to be like Marvel. You have to be DC, you
yeah,
know. But in some ways, they're so worried about attracting their fan base, their solid fan base, that they're not creating new fans. So they're looking at the
right.
people who read their comics and not adding layers to it to create new fans, new people who are interested. You know, like take your old tales and twist it, turn it on its head, make it
Yeah,
different. And I'm not saying like, you know how Marvel will take, I'm just going to use this is not a great example, but they'll take like Spider-Man and then they'll be like Spider-Man as a non-binary Latino or something of
yeah,
that nature. Now, I'm not saying do all that. I don't think there's an issue with it necessarily, but I think DC is failing to give us something unexpected, like
yeah.
truly unexpected.
And to add on top of that, what you just said, you know, another problem that DC faces with a lot of they live action movies,
What?
they try to make everything too dark.
Yes.
Listen, the only character on the comics that was really supposed to be dark was Batman. I don't want to see a brooding Superman or a brooding like
Yes.
what Wonder Woman or Flash. It's like everybody in the Justice League all brooding and angry. He's like,
Well,
I'm
and I think
Superman.
that's why their like their animated series and their TV shows often do so well because they're able to be dark and edgy but have comic relief.
Yeah,
They can do
yeah,
things that are maybe a little sillier or maybe, you know, just not as heavy, or they can make a
yeah.
heavy topic seem light, you know?
Yeah,
But
that's
in
true.
their movies, they're just so serious all the time. And I am the last person who wants to watch something serious.
Yeah.
You know, like
I'm
I
with
want
you.
a
Like,
good story.
yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah, because sometimes you be like, all right, I get it, you dark, but it's like, give me a joke here and there, bro. Like, smile. Like, damn. You know
I
what I'm saying?
need, yes, I need more dimensionality in their
Yeah.
characters. Like, I think that's my issue. Batman has one character trait, and that's it.
Well,
He is not a dynamic character where he's changing. And all these words are like in my head right now because that's what we're about to be learning in my classroom. But he isn't a dynamic character. He doesn't have all these different layers to him where he's learning and growing and changing and evolving. He kind of just stays the same. He's angry, he's brooding, and he is saving people and saving the town or saving the world, whatever.
yeah.
And sometimes using um, devious methods to do so.
And he always adopting kids. It's like, damn, slow down, bro.
True,
Yeah.
but it's a little creepy.
Yeah. He got like 6 or 7 sons. It's like, damn. Like all these kids in his house.
Mhm.
Yeah. I guess like I see where you're going with this. It's like Batman, like we haven't seen like him really evolved in the last like 10 years when it comes to like putting his character on screen, because it's like it's the same character traits over and over again. And I love Batman, but it's just like at a certain point, it's like if you're gonna do a remake or a reboot, we gotta see something different. And I guess one of my first
Right.
questions I ask you is like, do you think Hollywood is starting to become overrated or like overdue movie remakes and reboots?
Yes. And I think we need some original content. Um, and we're not getting that. Like the girls want something original. They want something new. But all we keep getting is a movie that was out 10, 20 years ago and they're doing it again. Or like superhero movies that we've seen before or something of that nature. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of it has to do with they know it sells.
Yeah.
So it's easy to do another Ghostbusters movie, even though we know it's going to follow like a similar plot.
Yeah.
You know, like Ghostbusters, the first one came out in the 80s, the second one came out in the 80s, early 90s, someplace in there.
Yeah.
Why do we have four more?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Granted, I was not mad at the female Ghostbusters. I have not seen it, but I was not mad at it. However, then they came out with a third one that's supposed to be like not a third, a fourth one that's supposed to be like the grandson of one of the originals
Yeah.
finds their car, and it came out during the pandemic, so I don't know if it really made any numbers. I don't think anyone was really looking for it either.
No.
But I just think there are so many great storytellers out there, and to be getting served the same stuff over and over is kind of like a slap in the face,
Yeah.
especially when it
Yeah.
comes to remakes. So when they just retake an old idea and continue it on, you know,
Uh,
like
yeah.
I'm not
I don't know
necessarily
if
the
you
biggest fan of reboots, but
yeah.
at least they're doing something different.
Yeah. So I don't know if you on got Amazon Prime or not, but have you heard this show on Amazon on Prime called The Boys?
I do have Amazon Prime, but I have not heard of the show.
So basically, the premise of the show is basically about like superheroes are like admired by the whole world, and they're looked up as heroes. But behind closed doors, like being a superhero is like a corporation, like it's a
Mhm.
business. And like on the superheroes that like the main 7 superheroes of the world that are supposed to be like the like bootleg Justice League, they're
Mhm.
corrupt and like they're like evil politicians. They're evil and they kill people behind closed doors. And it's like a basically like a small group of mercenaries called the Boys that are trying to bring them down. When I say
Oh,
originality, that's what I mean, because we don't see stuff like that. We just see like superheroes that we grew up with rebooted and retold like over and
with
over.
so much plot armor, like
Yeah, exactly. And it's
no
like,
room for growth.
yeah, and it's like we get it. Nostalgia sells because we love seeing with something that we like grew up seeing as kids go to the big screen because we got the technology to do it. But at a certain time, it's just like, all right, dog. If you want to spend millions of dollars doing this, do we really want this told the same way that we saw this when we was 10? Come on, yo. You
Right,
know what I'm saying?
right. So it's actually interesting because I was going to ask you, do you think reboots are kind of more gimmicky than remakes? Because in some ways, at least with a remake, you know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
They're going to give you the same characters, similar plot line, kind of like how, Roseanne was a super popular show in the 90s, and then they
Yeah.
remade Roseanne and they brought back almost all the original characters and just redid the show.
Yeah.
While, like, for example, Sabrina the Teenage Witch was a popular 90s, 2000 show with Melissa Joan Hart, and then Netflix took Sabrina and made the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yeah.
And it's a reboot because they took the main characters and the same plot idea, a half-born witch because her father is a witch, but her mother is immortal, have a baby, and in their cultures, it's not allowed. So that baby has to go live with her two aunts. It can't be raised by their interspecies or whatever relationship. So they take that same premise, but then they completely twist it and give it a whole new storyline. And I think it's kind of gimmicky. What do you think?
As far as remake, see, the thing about it is I kind of like reboots a little bit better because, like, the thing about remakes is something like, example, like this show 90210. You remember that show?
Yep.
Okay, so that was a popular show in the 90s, and I say back in 2008 they did a remake where it's just like, okay, they're adding on to the story. So a lot of some of the cast that used to be like students are teachers, and now it's a whole new group of students that come in. That can do well, but I feel like a lot of people gonna be like, "Oh, I don't want to see this because the character I grew up with isn't the same. They're all older and stuff." Whereas so a reboot, not only can you give a whole new perspective for a new audience, but also you can add little things to it to make it be like, "Well, it's a reboot, so you don't care." Like I've been watching the last like couple of weeks. I've been watching the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reboot. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I love Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Growing up, that's one of my favorite shows. So it's just like when I heard they were rebooting it, I was like, no, this ain't it. But I watched the first 3 or 4 episodes. I'm like, this show popping. You know what I'm saying? And it's like they put on like they honor the old show. You know what I'm saying? But it's completely different. It's nothing like the old show. It's a drama now, but with little elements.
Well, exactly. Like Sabrina the Teenage Witch was my show. Listen, I would wake up early to watch it, and I watched the series with Melissa Joan Hart. I watched different animated series. I would go to the library and I would get the comics books because it's an Archie comic.
Yeah.
Which also did a reboot.
A lot of people don't know that. That is a good point.
So like when I say I am a fan, I am a fan. Like, don't get it twisted. But I think the reason why I think it's kind of gimmicky is because they're playing on fan nostalgia just like a remake, but then they're taking it and my dad said bastardizing it, and I don't agree with that term. But yeah, he said it's a bastardization, and I was like, okay.
But, it was that deep pop, damn.
Right. But I think they redo the similar show, like do a reboot and keep the same premise to get original fans to watch, and then for viewers and money. But they don't actually expect the original fans to like it or to want, they might want you to like it. Obviously, they want the money. But to me, it's just gimmicky because you could have done this whole premise and just not made it related to the original.
That's true.
You're using the name of the original to get fans and to create this clout around this show. And I'm not saying that these remakes haven't been good. Like, there's definitely some plot holes in the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina reboot that Netflix is kind of known for because they do such short series, so they, forget to cover like things they bring up. But I just think, okay, you have this cool premise for a new show. You could have just done it.
Yeah.
Instead of making it a reboot. So you're playing on the fans' nostalgia and then retwisting it. Like, at least with a remake, you typically are doing the same thing. Like, for example, like the Charmed remake. All they did was make it a more diverse cast, but it's the same premise. Three witch sisters. If you can't tell, I had a thing for witches growing up.
You got something to tell me? Shit.
Oh, it was more than a thing. I can't even lie, but that's a conversation for another day. But three witch sisters who come together as a trio to defeat evil, more or less, and that's what they did in the remake. Um, so and we remake things like Nightmare on Elm Street a million times. That movie with Lady Gaga and I don't remember his name, but A Star Is Born. Apparently, that was a remake, and I didn't even know it.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't.
Bradley Cooper, that's his
Yeah.
name.
I didn't see that movie either, but I heard it got nominated for awards too. So obviously it was good. So
Right, exactly. But I don't know. I think they play a lot on our nostalgia to get money when they could just make it an original idea. We don't have
yeah,
it, and that's what bothers me about it. Otherwise, it's cool. Like I liked The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, but the original was my favorite. Like I like the original more. Because it similarly to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, it was a comedy, but it still dealt with like serious topics for teens,
yeah.
just like the Fresh Prince did. Um, but that is definitely not what these reboots are. Bel-Air is not is not the Fresh Prince.
Yeah, it's not. But like I put it, the best way to describe it, somebody had to ask me. You know how the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air from the '90s was basically a comedy with drama elements.
Yes.
This time, Bel-Air is reverse. It's a drama with comedy elements. It's low key like that show on CW called All American.
Yeah.
It's like it's a drama, but it got comedy elements here
Right.
and there. That's what
it has comic relief.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing I like about it is like everybody that plays their role, like the main character that plays Will, the main character that plays Carlton, the one that plays Uncle Phil, everybody serves their character justice without trying to copy the other characters from the 90s.
Right.
And like I get
That's
that.
true.
I get
That's
it.
true. Because the issue is when you do a remake, and it's an exact remake, not just like, oh, we're taking the old cast and continuing the show,
Yeah,
is that you're going to compare
exactly.
the new cast to the original, and often you will find them failing, especially when it's kind of like almost when you're watching an anime and they change the voice actor in the third season of the show, and you're just like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can finish this show because like the acting is different. The character has changed based upon the actor.
Exactly.
The writing could be the same, but the character has changed based upon the acting. So I do get that. I think right now we're doing more like there obviously are some remakes where they took the original show and then just continued from where they left off.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like how in Roseanne, that's what they did. But there definitely are cases where they like said, okay, we're just gonna give you the same show, the same premise, the same characters. Here you go.
It's
So we
basically
get a
like
little.
Hollywood just copying each other's homework. That's basically what it is.
Yes,
Just copying homework.
I'm sick of it.
Yeah. It sucks.
Deadpan.
I guess like my next question for you is like, do you have like a favorite movie or TV show that you watched that was a remake that you knew of?
So I will admit I don't watch a lot of TV and I don't
Okay.
watch a lot of movies. Mostly because my attention span is just not there. I rewatch a lot of shows that I watch. Like
Yeah.
growing up, like my mom's always like, "Oh, your nephew likes being with you because you watch cartoons." He comes over. I'm like, "All right, let's watch this Disney movie. Let's watch Nickelodeon."
Yeah. Right.
So I'm a kid's best friend, but I like my dad likes Star Trek. He likes Star Wars, but that's not his wheelhouse as much. He really, really likes Star Trek, and he likes Battlestar Galactica.
I remember that
You
show.
ever heard of that?
Yeah, I remember that. Oh.
And that is apparently the one from the early 2000s is a remake.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
and it's excellent. Like it's really good.
Yeah, I remember catching that like late at night on Battlestar Galactica. So it's just like how when them infomercials always came on, be like, hey there, sweet thing, you want to get your love CD by Barry
Stop
White?
it.
That's,
I
you
mean,
know,
sci-fi was known for that. You're right. You're right. But
hey there, sugar. But
sweet plum, cherry lips.
oh Lord, don't even get me started, yo. But it was shows like that. I remember. You know what I'm saying? But that was his favorite show.
It's not his favorite show, but it is one that he rewatches, and I've seen enough of it. I know the show. I know the premise, and it is actually very good. Um, my favorite remake. I really gotta think about that. Most remakes that I have seen are probably like I was unaware, you know. Um,
Yeah.
things like The Parent Trap. Like I remember, and Freaky Friday.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that was a remake till later.
Mm-hmm. As
Yeah.
a kid, I thought those were the originals.
Yeah.
You know, the Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan and the Freaky Friday with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan,
Yeah.
which I liked a lot. I liked both of those movies a ton.
Yeah.
But they were remakes and I was unaware, you know. So it's not like this trend is new, but I just feel like whenever you go to the movies, you see, oh, we're redoing this movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's always like, oh, we have that before. And it's not even like, I think what made The Parent Trap, like for me, the reason why, like, I was unaware that it was a remake was because the original came out in like the 60s or something, the 60s or the 70s. And
It did.
then the remake was done late 90s, mid to late 90s,
What?
maybe early 2000s.
The Parent Trap?
Yeah, with Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, it's like you right, mid 90s. You right.
Exactly. And so there was enough time span between them. But right now, we're remaking things that were just remade in the early 2000s.
We remaking stuff that was made like 2 years before. Like think about Spider
True.
Man. That the joint with Andrew Garfield didn't come out too long ago when they brought the new Spider Man in. So
Yeah, when they brought in Tom Holland. You're right. Exactly. My students were actually just debating which was the best Spider-Man.
who'd
They
you say?
were. I like Tom Holland the most.
I'm not mad
But
at that. I'm not mad.
I think Tom Holland is perfect because he plays a good Spider-Man
And Peter Parker.
and a good Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire was a really good Peter Parker, but not a really good Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield, I didn't really see the Spider-Man because I was like, but from my understanding, he made a better like Spider-Man, but maybe not as good of a Peter Parker.
Yeah, that's accurate. You know what I'm saying? Tom Holland, he's probably the best one I've seen so far. And I love the Spider-Mans with Tobey Maguire.
So
Like
do
one,
I. That's what I grew up on.
you know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna lie to you, like Tom Holland's been killing it these last
Right.
what 4 or 5 years now. He's been Spider-Man. He's been killing it. So I give
Right.
him props. He's probably the best one.
I agree. And even though the remakes, they make it things a little bit different. You know, Aunt May is a baddie, and
Wait, what happened?
you heard what I said.
You said who baddie?
Aunt May.
Aunt May. Oh yeah, yo, yo. I was like, first of all, Aunt May from the early 2000s was supposed to be on Medicare. Why is she looking like she work at the club, the bartender at the club? I didn't like
Right.
that, but I was like, my mom was working in different ways. I'm like, hold on, it's just a movie.
You said your spider senses are tingling.
Yeah, exactly. My spider senses was tingling. Aunt May, you ain't supposed to be looking like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just
Right.
saying. Go ahead.
But it makes sense because if my sister was to, die or something, God forbid, I could take her kids. I'm old enough.
Right.
And I'm only 25, going on 26. Like, I'm not the typical old aunt.
Oh, right. Right.
Listen,
Well,
roll up to the parent teacher conference like,
yeah. See,
it's
I
me.
think.
No, I'm kidding.
See, for me, I like when my sister have kids and stuff. Like, I'll probably be the fun uncle, but when they meet me, like, yeah, you definitely the little brother because you act like a kid. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like
Mm-hmm.
they gonna know my age. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
But Do
Go
you
ahead.
have a favorite remake or reboot?
Um, I'll tell you my favorite and I'll tell you my worst one. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so for me, I think my favorite movie reboot was probably the Batman Begins. Like the Christopher Nolan movies. Those were probably my
Hmm.
favorite movie reboots because they kind of low key, we don't put enough respect on what Christopher Nolan did with the Batman series because he kind of set the tone for a lot of the DC movies, making it dark and gritty. Because the other Batman movies before, they were more playful, but you can see like they were kind of like gimmicky because with the costumes and stuff,
Hmm.
and you see like Jim Carrey as the Riddler, it was like comical. But like what Christopher Nolan did with the Dark Knight, he made it what the Dark Knight was always supposed to be, was dark
Hmm.
and gritty, and it kind of set the trend for a lot of DC movies because, like I said, when DC saw that, they was like copy and paste. You know, I didn't do my homework, so we're gonna do this with Superman and Wonder Woman. I
Right.
was like, whatever. But those are my favorite like remakes and like reboots. Now, the
Hmm.
worst one I've seen as it was a that I knew was a remake,
Hmm.
I say probably the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory one.
Really?
I did not like it. With Johnny Depp, I like Johnny Depp is one of my favorite actors, but I did not like the movie. I tried, but I didn't.
Huh. That's interesting. Apparently, the Willy Wonka um with Johnny Depp
Mm-hmm.
is closer to the original Roald Dahl novel than the original movie, though,
Really?
which is interesting. I haven't read it, um, but that's what I've heard. It actually is truer to the original message,
Or
like the
maybe
original content.
maybe because I grew up with the Willy Wonka with Gene Wilder, and I just
Yeah,
used to him singing and seeing the Oopa Loopas dancing and stuff like that. And low key, I kind of thought it was more comical in the first movie because when like Gene Wilder started getting mad, I always laughed like, "Why are you so serious? It's chocolate, bro. Like, chill out."
right.
You know what I'm saying? And I always
It
thought it
is
was
good.
funny because like the grandpa, low key, the grandpa in the first movie, he had no ambition. He was lazy because he was complaining about he was sick the whole movie, but as soon as Charlie got that ticket to that chocolate factory, oh, I'm up now. I'm feeling better.
Right. All of a sudden, I can walk. I was bedbound two
Yeah,
seconds ago.
I'm like, you lazy grandpa. You know what I'm saying? But
Make it make sense.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? But that's probably one of the worst ones I've seen. It's probably another one that I've seen that I didn't like, but I can't think of off the top of my head, honestly.
Right. That's the
Another
way it
one.
works.
Oh, I
Hmm?
do. I take it back. The Men in Black 4 one.
Okay.
Men in
Which
Black
one is
4.
that? Like, just
The Men in Black
is that
4 is the
that's the
one
one that just came out?
yeah, the one that came out a few years ago, and they had Chris Hemsworth and Teresa Thompson. She was in Creed as the Michael B. Jordan girlfriend. That I did not like it.
Okay.
I did
Okay.
not like it. So they try because I love Men in Black. The first one I think is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. I probably can cite that movie
Hmm.
from head to toe. So
You're
so
funny.
how you have you ever seen The Wiz?
I've seen bits and pieces, but I would classify that probably as like a reboot rather than a remake.
Yeah, so it is a reboot. So how do you feel about that?
Um, I think black people did what black people do.
What does that mean? Afro, what does that mean?
Put our own spin on it. We put our
Okay.
own culture to it. That's what
Okay.
I meant by that. It wasn't a negative. Don't just assume, Derek.
I'm just saying you because you look down when you was like, I think black people do what black people gonna do.
All I know is everyone in my family growing up loved the music from it.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't really grow up with it. I saw it
Neither
like
did I.
I say 3 or 4 years ago, like for the
Mhm.
first time because it was on like Hulu or Netflix or something, and I was just
Right.
watching. It was good, Michael Jackson was doing his thing. You know what I'm saying?
Says enough.
Yeah. So
Uh, See, I grew up watching the original Wizard of Oz. Like that's what my dad likes.
yeah,
And so that's what we watched. But I do have one
get it.
last question for you really, really quickly.
What's up?
Do you think, um, because like I know you're a really big Martin fan. Do you think there should be a Martin remake?
A what movie remake?
Martin, the TV show.
Oh hell no! No, 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 no!
Right.
I don't want to see. I like what they did with Bel Air, but I don't want to see a drama Martin. Like imagine
Right.
Martin be like a serial killer or something like that. He be like, "What's up? What's up? What's up?" No,
Right.
no, you can't take that as
Well,
a comedy.
and my mom had a good point. If they did a remake, it wouldn't be funny because you don't want to see a 50, 60-year-old man doing the goofy stuff that Martin as a 20 something to 30 something year old man was doing on TV. Like it's not cute anymore.
Yeah,
But that's
it,
all I
it
wanted to know. I wanted to hear what you had to say. Like they
yeah.
can do a reunion, but they shouldn't redo the show or do a continuation of it.
No.